Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mining Now. We are filming episodes from Sydney, Australia. We're going to be filming at IMARC for 2023. Lots of episodes. We're actually going to be doing episodes all across Australia. And our first, not necessarily released first, but the first one we're filming in Australia is Verasio with Michael Ravella. He is their Chief Innovation Officer. He's also the founder. And this is one of a 4-part series. So there's going to be lots of content about Verasio. Very excited. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's good to welcome you here from IMARC.
Yeah, and I'm sure we won't be getting any thanks for chasing your customers out of the shot so that we could film this.
I think net this will be a positive. So
yeah, net. That's what you got to look at it. Okay, let's. Can we just get a little bit of your background? So you actually founded the company, and now it's there was an acquisition. Just walk us through it.
Yeah, sure. So I guess my background, let's see here. I'm a geologist by trade, and I actually started in the geology field in contaminant hydrogeology, which is in the environmental world, where we used real-time sensing and digital technologies to define contaminant source areas and plumes. And then I was working with a lot of different drilling contractors around the world. Bort Longyear was a subcontractor of one of my drillers. And we started using Bort Longyear for some of their unique sonic drilling technologies around the world. And then the local contractor I was using got acquired by Bort Longyear. From there, the owners of that company earned out. And then I actually stepped in and started running drilling businesses in the environmental and construction world for Bort Longyear. And then I got into mining. I went over to Australia and ran surface and underground drilling for Bort Longyear in Australia. After that, I came to Salt Lake City and I started the concepts behind what is Verasio today. So from an idea to where we are today is where I've been involved since the beginning. And yeah, it's really applying the methods and the concepts around contaminant hydrogeology and applying those to mining. When I was running drilling businesses, I found it was crazy how inefficient the ore body definition and exploration phases were. And I knew there would be better ways to do this to unlock ore body knowledge for mining clients. And so I started exploring concepts around real-time sensing or day of drilling sensing technologies and delivering. If you look at Bort Longyear as a drilling company, their product is samples. So it's either a chip sample or a core sample. But the reality is mining clients want more than that. So the natural progression for Bort Longyear was to enter digital technologies, where today they're very industrial, where their products are a service of drilling and drilling technologies. The natural progression was to get into digital sensing and software. And so those kind of aligned. And from there, we started entering the market with some basic digital technologies that drillers deploy downhole as part of their process for surveying holes and orienting core and things like that. And so we entered in that space to make an early hit with creating some entrance in the market being digital. And then we started getting more sophisticated and building what I guess more useful tools, things that get me out of bed in the morning and get me excited to deliver ore body knowledge for our clients. And so we started building these technologies that provide the information required to find ore, to define ore, to extract it and to process it, and do that day of drilling and do it at much higher definition than traditional methods. And so we evolved into technologies like this one behind me here. This is our sample scanning environment called TruScan. And I guess where we are today, Verasio spun out of Bort Longyear at the beginning of this year. So we're separate from Bort Longyear at this point. And we're about 185 employees today.
Wow.
So, yeah. And the backgrounds of our team, we have a very mixed bag of people, everything from geologists to mining engineers to software engineers, electronic engineers, mechanical, you name it, we have it. And we're all focused on one thing, and that's unifying ore body knowledge for mining companies and doing it through digital sensing and AI. And we believe it's it's the root of moving resources forward for humanity as we enter decarbonization as a world. So.
Let's talk about our heavy industry world tour brought to you by Savana Equipment, supplying mining equipment worldwide, and Geograph, solving customer challenges through innovation and design, higher performing parts, engineered solutions, on-time spare parts supply, and high-quality repairs. We are heading to events across North America, Africa, and Australia, and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsman.com to be part of Crownsman's Heavy Industry World Tour. Reduce tire-related production interruptions and enhance vehicle safety with Doran tire monitoring systems designed for off-road, earth-moving, and industrial equipment. Real-time access to accurate, reliable tire pressure and temperature information helps operators and supervisors maximize equipment performance and tire life. Doran tire monitoring systems are designed to withstand extreme operation conditions while featuring simple installation and low maintenance. Visit doranmfg.com for more information on how Doran can help reduce equipment downtime and improve safety. If you're treating refractory gold or complex ores, then you need How to Leach Difficulty or Varying Feeds and Recover More. It's packed with cases and papers on Albion process leaching technology. But it also has the world's first online calculator. It's free and you'll learn what CapEx and OpEx you'll need for Albion process to treat your feed. You need Albion process to liberate your refractory locked gold. To get your pack and use the free calculator, click the link in the description below. Orica Digital Solutions seamlessly connects customers' physical and digital worlds so they can readily understand and optimize operations at every step of the value chain, from exploration to processing. Whether deployed individually or as a whole, Orica Digital Solutions technologies deliver intelligence for open cut and underground mines to make more precise and faster decisions. With a complete, timely, and accurate picture, operations can adapt to improve safety, drive productivity, reduce costs, and environmental impacts. To learn more about Orica Digital Solutions, visit orica.com/digital solutions today.
Well, I'm just going to say first to your team that we send you a copy of this interview, and they should just take that clip of you and just put it on your website, because that was a great a great explanation.
All right.
I want to jump in on. Oh, you said about that you saw the inefficiencies that were happening in the industry, and I always find it helpful when we're talking about new technology is to match those up. So what were the inefficiencies that you were seeing? Can you just kind of paint the audience? Some people will know it very well. Some people watching will not. So could you just sort of paint a picture of the inefficiencies you were seeing?
Sure. Yeah. If you look at the intervals at which we understand ore bodies today, the most finite interval we look at is at the 1 meter to 3 meter scale, and that's during exploration and ore body definition. And it can be as coarse as 50 meter scale for some technical properties, and ore bodies are mined at 30 meter blocks. And so, if you think about how ore bodies are deposited, it actually doesn't make any sense that we would look at such a coarse scale. The reality of the heterogeneity of the earth, it's at the centimeter scale that you're going to be seeing vast differences. And so it was really starting to understand the earth at a much higher definition.
Sorry. I just want to. Where the mining industry is doing it at what metric, and then it's actually at centimeter. But what was the first number you said?
Yeah, so I would say the average exploration program would be at the 1 to 3 meter intervals. They'll be taking composite samples.
Wow.
And that's really taking out a lot of the detail that tells you a lot about the ore body itself. And then when you get into actual mining, it's often ore bodies aren't very well understood, and then they're mined at 30 meter blocks. And so there's a large amount of tailings created by that process due to lack of understanding of ore bodies. And so I think by applying digital technologies, it allows us to understand the earth at the centimeter scale and could really change the way we mine and target ore, which could lead to less waste and shorter permitting periods, et cetera. So, yeah, and I guess the other part of your question was what inefficiencies did we see in mining and entering the space? I looked at the obvious one is like a lab assay, right? I mean, we have mining clients that are in the middle of the desert somewhere staring at rocks and trying to guess what they are. And they could be highly altered and overprinted deposits that are highly heterogeneous, which could be very challenging as a geologist. And then they take samples of these rocks and it takes 3 months to get results back from a lab before they realize that, oh, the elements in this rock don't add up to what I described it as. I need to go relog it. So it creates a lot of inefficiencies. Often our clients are drilling blind, where they don't know if they're in ore or if they're through ore or not. And so having real-time information about the earth allows them to make better decisions around when to start drilling, when to stop drilling, what rocks are you actually logging, what is the geological story here that we're seeing. And, it's all about high definition information and timely information. We look at the core parameters for us within Verasio. Our accuracy is at our core, and the value of data decreases significantly with time. And so it's about providing the right information at high definition accurately the day of drilling.
So just to simplify it for someone in my league, this is literally a mobile unit that goes on site and scans what's in the ore body as it's coming out. At its core, that is what you're delivering now to clients.
That's part of what we deliver. So we have multiple sensing platform environments that we use to understand the earth. One of them is sample scanning. So we have TruScan and the Mineralizer CS as technologies that are used to scan core and chip to give elemental geochemistry, lithological logging, and structural logging today. And we'll continue to expand on that with mineralogy in the near future. We have other sensing platform environments that tell us different information about the earth. For example, geophysical properties of the earth. So properties of the earth that are required to be sensed in situ or downhole in the earth. We have a technology called TruProbe. That's a stackable sensing environment that allows us to obtain geophysical properties from boreholes. And because it's driller deployable, it really opens up that space and allows the mining community an opportunity to get geophysical information from hard to reach places more efficiently and deployed by the driller, which fits into the workflow and reduces inefficiencies in that space. We have another sensing platform environment called TruSub that we use to drive drilling efficiency today by tracking parameters related to drilling, which helps us understand the most efficient way to drill a hole, but also this digital technology that senses the rod string will be used to understand geomechanical properties of the earth and geomet properties and how rocks crush and grind. We believe there's a strong correlation between how a rock drills and how a rock will be processed. And that's a very critical parameter for our clients. If you look at where our clients spend most of their money today, it's actually crushing rocks.
Yeah.
And so understanding how a rock crushes during the ore body definition phase can drastically determine what's ore and what's profitable ore.
Yeah.
We have other platform environments as well that are looking beyond the borehole. We're developing a technology called cross borehole tomography, which is allowing us to see beyond the borehole. And so we're creating data sets between single point sources, which allow us to understand the earth at much higher density.
At OIM Consulting, they drive profitability by building your supervisory capability. They equip the people who carry your culture, engage your teams, and ensure that daily targets are achieved. If you want measurable operational results, visit oimconsulting.com. Analyze, improve, sustain. Mine Vision Systems is a mining technology company focused on providing actionable insights from the digitization of a mine. When a mine is digitized, predictive insights become possible. Mine Vision's flagship product, the Face Capture TM mapping system, is a differentiated solution that has a direct impact on production, efficiency, and worker safety. Face Capture is designed for the ore control geologists that make multiple daily decisions impacting the direction and profitability of a mine. Precise and real-time information provided by Face Capture optimizes decision making. Face Capture is designed to eliminate trade-offs between time, precision, and worker safety. Visit mindvisionsystems.com for more information. Okay, so let's give a special thank you to one of our longest sponsors of the show, Savana Equipment. And I'm actually going to hand it over to Jared so that he can give you a little bit more info on Savana Equipment.
Yeah, thank you. So, I mean, people see them as sponsors, so they'll ask me, kind of who they are, what they are, and just trying to understand the scope of the company. So Savana Equipment is a mining supply company, and they're delivering on the whole equipment supply chain. So everything from the ore processing to underground mining, open pit, they're in hard rock and placer operations. And what they're doing is they're sourcing equipment from all over the world and then delivering it all over the world. Now, they are a Canadian company, so they're based there, but, let's say, they're selling entire ore processing plants. So there might be a plant down in Latin America, and there's a new mine that needs that plant in Africa or somewhere in the US. So they're facilitating that entire transactions. But they're also delivering, an individual conveyor or a concentrator or a pump package or just an electrical package. So it really is the whole gambit of the mining equipment supply chain.
Oh, that's great then. Well, then you definitely have to check them out. If you're looking for mining equipment, visit them at savanaequipment.com, where you will find more equipment every day.
I'm quickly seeing why we're doing this. Is actually just one of 4 episodes we're doing with you, and I'm quickly learning why. Let's walk.
I could talk about this all week, just so you know.
Well, you kind of will be for at least a few days. I can always tell just by how busy a booth is, and I could see that your booth, and I hate to say it, we've done shows where it's very quiet at the booth. That is not the case. We had to move people away to be able to film. Which is a great sign. So can you just walk me through I have some notes in front of me, and I want you to walk, because we've kind of got these milestones that you've done in the development. Like in 2014 to 16, it was, and I'm just reading off this, I'm not pretending to be an expert, the XRF scanner. But then you mentioned AI. That happened, I think, around 2021. Can you sort of layer in how the sort of the milestones of the technology and how it sort of came together over the last, I guess 7 or 8 years?
Sure. Yeah, I guess in relation to the TruScan technology, we I guess I think back to 2014, and it was very early concepts back then. It was the idea of sensing rocks using some unique XRF technology, and then we evolved into making more robust XRF sensors that allow us to detect elements at very low concentrations at a large range, but are also field robust. And so that was our first big breakthrough, was making that technology, which was about 2015. From there, we started really, we started playing with AI on images, and applying that to elemental geochemistry and images really as early as like it was probably 2017 or 18.
Oh, wow.
Proof of concepts. So, we were really early day stuff. We were writing algorithms around QA/QCing data and analyzing spectra in those early days. And so we've really evolved from ideas and trying stuff to actually making real software that's robust and scalable. And so, I'd say really the breakthroughs on software that's robust and scalable was probably 2020. Well, I'd say we realized in 21 that a lot of people like our software. And then in 22, we realized we better make it a lot more scalable. And so we spent a fair amount of time last year making sure our software can be stable and scalable based on demand. So
could you expand on that? What was the challenge, and then how were you able to make it more scalable?
I think it's a lot more horsepower with AI engines in the cloud, and building stable code behind it to go from being able to service a single site or two to be able to service tens to hundreds of sites.
I'm always curious when I see this type of development, because it takes this, you're taking AI, you're taking data sets, you're taking geologists, and you're mixing them together. I'm talking about the people part of it. To then land somewhere. It always fascinates me. Can you talk about that part of the journey?
Yeah, definitely. That's something I love to talk about. And it's kind of weird how it all came together, really. Like there's no doubt there's a common bond between everyone in Verasio that we truly believe we're changing mineral exploration and mining with digital sensing and AI. And it's this bond that we all have without even really pushing it. It's like, it's just obvious. It's where the future is in mineral exploration and mining. And I think we just attract people that see the same vision. And I think it applies to every single person in Verasio. and they're really excited about it. They're really excited to be part of it. I mean, our challenges are getting people to go home at night because they're so addicted to what we're doing, and I think we really enjoy it. And we see this as a very important time in the history of mineralization and mining, and we get this great opportunity to be part of it.
Is this industry standard I mean, obviously you're at an event promoting it. Is it in 10 years, is this a standard of how it's done?
Yeah, like I think about the early days of, I've been meeting with mining companies and technology leads within mining companies for years. And I think about the early days and people evaluating, I don't know if we're going to, is this going to be a thing or not? We're not sure.
Well, it must have taken huge investment, right? It's a huge undertaking to get it to market, that first one, right?
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, but I look at it now and it's like, there's no doubt that scanning technologies and sensing technologies are the future of understanding our bodies. And it's widespread across the industry. It's very well understood.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of interest in the space. There's no doubt there's still earlier adopters that are using these technologies. There's a lot of people talking about it. And then there's fewer people that are using them on a day-to-day basis and throughout their entire company and their workflows, et cetera. But those early adopters are setting the standard, and it's obvious the momentum these companies are gaining. So, and there's no doubt it's a huge investment. It's a huge investment in time, and in people and in dollars. I think Fort Longyear has been extremely supportive of Verasio since idea to where it is now. Our board sees that vision. And the momentum we're gaining now that we've separated from Fort Longyear as Verasio is just, it's exponential. So it's really a great opportunity to be part of this and to see it grow from where it started to where we are now and where we're going.
What are the questions you get? I sit here and ask questions, and sometimes I forget to ask this. This question is, what do other people asking? What are experts in the field when they're coming up to you and they're trying to learn about TruScan, they're trying to learn about Verasio? What are and maybe if you could pick a couple tough ones that we can walk through. I think that's really helpful to the audience.
Okay. So questions that we get asked from experts.
Yes.
Is that basically what? Yeah. I'd say, yeah. I mean, the level of understanding will obviously impact the level of questions we get. I think some basic questions we get are, is this how accurate is this? Is it lab quality? Is probably a very common question. And the answer is yes. These technologies can be as accurate as within what I call it, within the split core variability of your sample. So we can, TruScan is very unique where we can matrix calibrate and address matrix effects on XRF, which is a common challenge with that sensing technology. So we have unique IP and methods around being able to calibrate this specific to the rock at the site, and it can match split core variability of samples that you'd get from a lab.
Is that an AI calibration, or is this a manual one for the people on site?
Our calibrations are all based on physics. So we understand the limits of AI and when to use it and when not. Our approaches are all based on physics. I'd say during our journey, we learn the limits of AI and really reapproach calibration with a physics-based approach, I don't know, a couple of years back. And it's really made a huge difference for us, where we have very strong data libraries that allow us to generate calibrations combined with samples specific to the geology that we're scanning. And that combination really allows us to address some very challenging deposits. So if you use normal XRF technologies on highly altered rocks that are overprinted, you're going to get a lot of weird answers. And if you're using AI, you're going to get a whole bunch of bad answers. And so it's really sticking to physics, understanding how to apply physics to these highly altered environments. And then if we do have the capability of using AI to infer elements, but if we ever do that, the client's very much aware of that. And we also use AI to review data. So we can review large quantities of data using AI, which allows us to be very efficient as a company. And it's all about that timing of information, right? It's the ability to give information day of drilling is utilizing our unique AI to review information, present that to our geoscientists for manual review before we deliver that information to the mining client.
This is just maybe me misunderstanding, but you were talking earlier in the episode about I think it was a reference, I think maybe to logging information. Is
Yep.
there so at some point, or is it already happening, where data is starting to get compared from different data sets across the mining industry so that it becomes more and more accurate using comparison? Or is that, I'm sorry if I'm going way afield here and not misunderstanding
that's fine.
something.
No, I think I can set us straight here. So yeah, we utilize AI in the logging process. So that's identifying lithology and structure. So we empower the geologist by applying AI algorithms to images and to elemental geochemistry to unlock structural logging and lithological logging, and then present that in an environment for them where they're in control still, but it drastically reduces the amount of work they have to do to collect that information. If you think about how structural information is collected today, or lithological information is collected today with traditional methods, it requires a geologist to fly to site to log core, often looking at rocks without elemental geochemistry, and also manually logging structural features with calibrated instruments, one at a time. And so those processes lead to error in lithological logging and leads to error in structural logging, as well as very sparse information being collected because
Right. Yeah.
so much time. When you use AI, though, you collect high definition information rapidly with less error. And so it's really about presenting that AI run to the geologist and having the geologist in control of the environment, and then them deciding what's useful, what's not. Our software also has machine learning algorithms. So as the geologist updates the logging, it learns from the geologist and actually gets better. And so, but always at the core of all of this, the geologist is in control. We empower the geologist. We make them bionic with our software and with our with our sensing technologies.
Again, I love seeing a booth that's actually busy, and I genuinely mean that. It's always exciting when you're getting to interview a company that a lot of people are interested in. I wanted to quickly ask you. I don't want to keep you too long, but I want to get through a couple things. I want to circle back. I wanted to ask you first. Who brings it on site? Who deploys it? Who's running it? What is the actual setup? Are they buying it from you? What's the actual model behind these units?
So yeah, depending on which technology you use, I'd say the majority of our like downhole sensing tools, etc., are rental based technologies.
Okay.
The TruScan or Minalyzer technologies are by the meter, and so I think the most useful way to actually deliver all of this information is by the meter. It aligns with the way our mining clients think. At the end of the day, they cost their programs by the meter. They evaluate the information they get by the meter. It fits perfectly into that environment. We deploy the technologies with our technicians to either train the mining client to run the equipment, or we run the equipment for them. And then as far as running our software, we have geoscientists on site with our clients, geoscientists working hand in hand, showing them how to use the software and helping them integrate into the workflows. We find that workflow integration is one of the most important things we can focus on.
Yep.
I try to put myself in the shoes of a geologist who's got a million things going on at a mine site, and having to take on a new technology is like the last thing you want to do because you don't have any time. And it's intimidating, right? So I think it's far more useful if we can get geoscientists on the ground with geoscientists, and the software we write is written by geoscientists, and so it makes sense to them intuitively, and they have a reliable source on site to help them integrate into workflows, which doesn't interrupt their day to day, and actually allows them to gain momentum, to be more efficient on site, and then utilize their time to be interpreting that information instead of collecting it.
I want to jump you back to when you first put units out in the field for like testing and trials, and what was that experience like? And I'll tack on another question. How much did the technology and even the setup evolve from those initial units being out in the field?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt when you're innovating in mining, it's challenging, right? The mining industry is great at killing technologies as fast as they can. So often if you don't get it right the first time, you're dead to them.
Yeah.
And I think it's like that. The ways we address that early on was we have R&D environments. So we have active R&D environments that are on abandoned mine sites. So they actually have ore in the ground, and it allows us to test technologies and fail 1,000 times over before we get to the mine site. And two, it's really finding clients that want to partner, that want to innovate with you, that want you to succeed, and really going through the highs and lows with those clients. And there's no doubt. I mean, I look at our technologies, and as we enter the space, it's like every quarter I'd look back and go, we had no idea what we were doing last quarter. And then the next quarter, but we have figured out now. And then you go to the next quarter and be like, oh, we had no idea back then. And it's like, you see this like trend, and you're getting there when you look back like a year and you're like, you know what? We knew what we were doing then, and we still know what we're doing. And it's like, we're at that stage with like the TruScan technology or the Mineralizer technology. It's like we're at that stable stage, and it's great. It's really fun because it's like you have this confidence behind your technology, and you're really ready to change the industry. So but yeah, there's no doubt that during those stages of you think you have it. Like I look back to like the early days, and it's like, man, what were we thinking? Like our first scanning technology was like a half piece of PVC pipe on skateboard wheels with like a crappy XRF technology and a video camera, and we thought we had it nailed then. And it's like we had no idea what we were doing. And then you think about how we evolved into to continuous scanning into multi phases and our calibration processes, our data review processes, finding the limits of AI, and then going back to physics based. We've really gone the gauntlet, and it takes a lot of years to get to that level of understanding of the technology. But until you do, you're going to have a lot of mistakes. And so we've been through those hard yards, and as Minalyze and these two companies coming together, it's like we really understand the space well. We're pioneers in the space, and we're very like-minded people, and we have a very heavy understanding of the space we're in.
You said something that struck me. I, as a business person myself, is that when you're starting to get somewhere when you look back and go, oh, okay, we weren't too bad 6 months ago. When you can reflect and go, okay, we were still reasonable. But yeah, there's different stages where you look back, even a few months, you go, man, we were closer to going in a terrible direction than we thought at the time.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And it's like, back in those early days, it's like, holy moly. But now it's like, yeah, I'm feeling really good about it. I mean, we're always evolving, we're always innovating, and we're always doing new and exciting things. But it's good to know that the core technologies are stable, they're reliable, and they're repeatable, and we're doing it at challenging environments and really helping clients a lot.
Yeah, but it actually leads me to another question, though. You said about the mining industry, you kind of get one crack at it, and that came to my mind that as you continue to do R&D and development and bringing on new technologies, even refining the new technology, how do you sort of balance that out? Because now once you've earned that trust, you don't want to sort of put too much R&D over to the client. That's sort of a balance you got to have now.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. It's like, it's really finding clients that are interested in using the technologies you have, but also open to trying new technologies as you deliver them, right? I mean, we have new technologies coming to market every day. And when they do, it's like, we want to find partners that are willing to go through that with us, knowing that it's new and being open to failing. I think it's critical. If we're going to change an industry, we have to fail.
Can you actually, speaking of partners, can you talk a little bit about the acquisition or expand a little bit about the, and I'm having a little trouble with their names, Minalyze? Minalyze. Yeah,
yep.
Right. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, it's to me, it's a natural fit. I've known Minalyze as a company for years. They're really pioneers in sample scanning. They were exploring these ideas back in like 2009. So, very long time ago. Annalie and Mikkel are true pioneers and really have been in the industry a long time. They were a very worthy competitor to our TruScan technology. And it's great to see the two teams come together. And if you look at at how we fit together, it's really it's perfect. It's like we were really focused on digital sensing capabilities, and Minalyze was very strong on the software side of things, and so but they have that really strong understanding of XRF as well. And so getting that mix of people together, like during due diligence, it was so obvious to me. The culture of that company versus ours is like identical. Like these people feel the urgency that we feel. They see the same visions that we see. And they want to move forward faster. And so do we. And so the whole purpose behind this was 1 + 1 is 3. It was getting these two groups together to move forward quicker because the industry needs it. They need the momentum. We need to move faster. Humanity needs it. And so, it was a natural fit for the two companies to come together. And I think what we'll see in the future is faster evolution in both the sensing and software side around the scanning space.
Yeah, I wish I could say that our show had this master plan, that we knew that mining was going to be like the forefront of, like now it's very mainstream mining because of the demand that's coming. And
Right.
it was it definitely wasn't planned on our part. We just
You didn't see that coming?
Well, I should have, but I was in that phase where we were doing all these things and you look back and go, wow, what were we doing? So I was missing a lot at that time. But I want to ask, looking forward, before I let you go, and I know I do need to let you go. So looking forward, 2024, we're going to do other episodes. We've got 3 more to do with you, but
Cool.
just what do you have? What's sort of the vision over the next year? I don't, 10 years out, I think that's too far. What the next 1 or 2 years? What's sort of the focus?
Yeah, I guess it's scaling the technologies we have is always a focus. Also a focus on seeing beyond the borehole. I think it's important that we start understanding the Earth beyond single point sources. If you think about the amount of heterogeneity between one borehole and the next, it's enormous. I mean, you could drill a hole here in this booth and then drill a hole out in the hallway 100 meters away, and you could say, okay, it's a linear relationship between these 2 points. But the reality is, from here to the carpet, 3 meters away from me, it could be 2 orders of magnitude different. And so there's extreme heterogeneities within the Earth, and I think we have to start sensing beyond boreholes to really understand that. I think that's a critical step in defining ore bodies at greater detail and changing the way we understand ore bodies and the way we extract them and process them. So I think that's a critical piece of our focus. It's also just driving completing unified ore body knowledge sensing capabilities and software to integrate that into our clients' workflows and really solve the entire value chain for our clients. And so that's where we'll be focused.
Do you think there'll ever, this is a very big picture question, but do you think there'll ever be a day where an open pit mine, we can say 100 years from now, doesn't matter when, that an open pit mine will change from just having to gather it all up and process it to that the systems will get so good that you're not having to do it that way, that we're not having just to move as much? I'll give you a quick example. We just had a company on last week. They were doing like water processing, and they implemented a system. What they were doing with the old system was actually making twice as much waste because they had to add, and then they'd have to, and they figured out a system to reverse it, to get it about half as much or a third as much. Just unbelievable. Do you think we'll see that sort of stuff in like the open pit, in the processing, where we're able, I know this is a very big picture question, but that we're able to just have less impact?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, I'm having these conversations with key decision makers in mining houses today, right? We're all talking about the same things. I think what Verasio offers is a critical piece to that puzzle. It starts with understanding ore bodies at high definition. But yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that the future of mining is very different than what it is today. It has to be. If we're gonna speed up permitting, we have to reduce waste. And I think that starts with understanding ore body. And you start looking at the efficiencies, right? If we can understand ore bodies at higher definitions, we can start processing them differently. Sites that are not economic today will become economic. Humanity needs the minerals, the ore, to drive decarbonization. And we're not going to be able to do it by finding tier 1 deposits. It's just not going to add up in time. We have to access what we know of today. We have to approach those deposits differently, and that's understanding them better and processing them differently.
Yeah. And the public need, and we need to earn the public's trust as well when doing that. And that is
Yes.
through the technology. Can you highlight a couple key technologies for 2024 that will be seen?
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess some key technologies that'll be coming into the market in 24 are TruProbe Gamma tool. So it'll be a gamma gyro tool will be entering the market. And it stars the most accurate gyro in our industry, tied with some driller deployable gamma technology, which will make it quite useful for the market. We're entering the market with VNIR and SWIR hyperspectral, which will allow us to unlock mineralogy, and that combined with our XRF technology will be quite useful in defining critical information to process ore. And so Carrie Diel is leading us in that space. She's our principal spectral geologist and very experienced. And we look forward to seeing where this takes us. And I guess those are the two key technologies that are entering the market. I guess another one that's entering the market is we call it V8 True Sub, and it's basically a universal top drive sub that will apply to any top drive drill, including the Boart Longyear 160, which is a tilt out drill rig. And so Craig Laverick is leading that up for us, a very experienced expert in the drilling space. So we look forward to that entering the market as well.
Okay. I know you need to go. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad we're doing multiple episodes, because one quick one at a live event, I know it's not enough, and I probably missed some questions, but I also know I see people trying to say hi to you, and I know you need to go. So Michael, thank you very much for your time, and I'm glad this is a new venture with us, that we're getting to do these episodes. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worry. I enjoyed it. Anytime.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. See you.
And thank you, everybody, for watching. We will, as we release more of these episodes, we will be putting links to the other episodes. You can cross-reference the information and get everything covered you need about Verasio. So thank you very much. We'll see you on the next episode of Mining Now.